And welcome back to Keeping It Real. I'm David Grossman. Great to be here today on All Talk TV. We have with us Emil Kyriakos. Emil, thanks so much for joining us. I'll tell you a little bit about him. He was voted U.S. Investor of the Year at the Top Investor Awards in Toronto. And that's not all. He has other awards as well, which is pretty incredible. Do you want to tell us what kind of awards, and then we can find out what you do here?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I want to thank you for having me. It's great to be here, and also I'm grateful for the stuff that I've learned from your previous guests. So thanks again, David.
Well, thanks for your feedback.
Thank you. So these are basically as a best educator, and that was from the U.S. It's almost similar to the Best Business Bureau. And this is here, Top Investor of the Year, U.S. Investor of the Year for 2012. I don't know if the camera can capture that.
Fantastic.
And also been featured in a number of magazines, such as Real Estate Wealth magazine and some other foreign TV station.
Right. Yeah. I saw some of your TV, one of your TV clips on the Chinese station.
Correct.
And also read some of your articles. So you've really stepped up. I mean, you're also a mortgage agent, by the way.
Yes.
And you've really stepped out of the typical mold.
Yeah.
Are you a real estate agent as well? Or?
No.
Okay.
No.
How did you get into this real estate investing niche?
It's interesting you're asking. I've always been interested and passionate in real estate. First, I started as a mortgage agent, and I found it extremely hard to get into the investment property in Canada. So I spent a couple of years. I moved to the U.S. I taught myself, and I've attended a number of seminars and what have you. And I basically put that into action. And I'm very grateful that I've done what I've done in the U.S. because it gave me a whole different opportunity that I wasn't aware of it. I started doing it myself. And I said to myself, it's time to basically transfer the wealth and share the wealth with fellow Canadians and show them what I'm doing. And that's how I started
So
the
you
company.
actually moved to the U.S. for a period of time? How long were you living in the U.S.?
I was there for just over a year. And like I said, I've attended a number of seminars and training that helped me along the way.
Well, I know you're a family man as
That's
well.
right.
So you took your family?
It was very hard, actually.
Yes.
It was back and forth.
Right.
And I did that in order for me, because as I said, I'm very passionate about the subject. And I found I'm running under a little bit of a shadow in here in terms of getting the fund and closing on the property. And finding the ROI wasn't really attractive. So I said to myself, there's got to be a better way of doing it. So I moved to the States, and the wife was a little bit upset about this because, as you can see, back and forth. But it's a sacrifice that I had to do it for a short period of time. And I'm very grateful because it really taught me a lot.
Well, obviously your wife's stuck with you. I saw this picture of you and your family there on the beach. So it looks like the rewards rewards speak for themselves.
It
does. That magazine.
It does. And it's funny because until now, actually, when I do any investment, I take the family, not in every deal, but sometimes I take some of my kids. I have 10 and 13 years old, Angelina and Sophia.
This camera over here.
Oh, sorry.
Or that camera over there. Yeah, so you're there with your family.
Right.
So they're obviously enjoying the fruits of your hard work now as well.
They are. And as a matter of fact, my 13 years old, she knows what to look for when we look at an investment. She comes with me to the basement, and she looked at the foundation, at the piping, and the copper and plumbing and what have you. And she knows exactly what to look for. So I'm grateful that she started to develop that kind of skills.
That's terrific. That's nice that you include her in that, and she's learning. And it brings family closer together. So
it does. I mean, we've all heard the example of you teach people how to fish, and you know how it goes.
Right,
So
right.
basically, we're trying to give that skill to the kids.
Feed them a fish.
Feed them
They
a
feed
fi-
for a day.
that's
Teach
right.
them how to fish.
Thanks, David.
They eat for a lifetime.
That's
right.
right.
I think
Absolutely.
that's the saying.
That's right.
So now you have a few properties that we actually have some photos of. We
Right.
can show that you're
Right.
actually currently promoting. You can
Correct.
tell us a little bit about some of these properties.
Absolutely. So basically what we do at our company, we take investors by the hand, literally by the hand. You'll be picked up. We'll go to the US. We're talking about Western New York. So we are in the US within 2 hours. And we look at some different properties. We look at some different deals. And we also talk to a US attorney, an accountant. So we're establishing the whole corporation for you. We're giving you the key for your new car, if
So you
will.
take them down to New York
Correct.
and you introduce them to all the people that they are going to need to know
Correct.
to execute this transaction, and on an ongoing basis, should there be any issues, they have a team of people
Absolutely.
set up.
Absolutely. And that's the team that I personally use. So that's how I basically develop this kind of relationship. For anyone to go and sit with a U.S. attorney, you'll be charged by the minute, and
Sure.
it's not that cheap. So we've overcome that based on the number of the transaction.
Okay.
So our attorney is basically willing to sit down with the investors and willing to answer all of the questions, because let's face it, I didn't go to law school, and I prefer that any legal question that should be answered by obviously
By a lawyer, and
a
it helps
lawyer.
that, I mean, somebody local too.
Exactly.
In New York,
Exactly.
who knows the laws.
License.
And so on.
Absolutely.
Right. Okay. So now you're dealing mainly with, as far as the U.S. market goes, we're talking about properties in the New York area.
Yeah, Western New York. So to give you an idea, David, in Toronto, we have appreciation. I mean, some of our properties are based on the location appreciated by 20%. In the U.S., we have positive, I'm talking about the state of New York, we have positive cash flow from day one. Not so much appreciation, but it's a whole different ball of game. It's your cash flow would be basically rolling positive from day one.
From day one.
From day one. We're talking about properties for $20,000-$25,000 rented for $700 a month. I mean, that's phenomenal. I mean,
Right.
I know for myself that there was actually a transaction was closed a couple of weeks ago in downtown, just in Etobicoke, on the border of Toronto and Etobicoke. It's a Monarch building, and a parking lot was sold for $27,000.
A parking lot.
Parking
okay.
lot.
Right.
That is not going to generate a penny.
Right. Okay.
So, in fact, you're going to have to pay taxes on that and so forth.
Generate parking income from that?
No, it's just one parking lot for a car, for one car
one
in a
car.
condominium.
Oh, okay,
So,
right. Sure.
so-
Okay, I get you.
Yeah. So as you can see, there is a huge difference in terms of investment and the return on the investment. The market right now, although the market is a little bit soft, but still very attractive. The reason why it's a rental market, sadly, there is a lot of people lost their jobs due to the economy,
Right.
and a lot of the people, they cannot actually qualify for a mortgage. The bank finally decided.
So prices are way down.
Prices are way down. Some of these properties actually are paid by the U.S. government.
Right, yeah, you were telling me about that. So
Correct.
the U.S. government steps in to help some of these people.
Correct. Which is called Section 8, which is equivalent of welfare, basically.
Okay,
So the U.S. government are housing these people because they are eligible for.
so they have you have
Assistance.
guaranteed rents.
Correct. And the beauty of the U.S. rent, the check is paid systematically and automatically at the beginning of the month. The first of the month, the check, depending on the state and the city, the check either mailed to your company, to your home, or will be wire transferred. Most of the counties that I'm dealing with, they send checks at the beginning of the month.
Okay, so now these properties, I guess people are usually just paying cash for them.
Correct.
I mean, $25,000.
Correct.
That's more than a down payment you would need on a house in Toronto.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
so for that, so let's take a look at some of the examples. This first one is Sumner. Do you want to tell us a little bit about this?
So this is a 3-bedroom, 1-bath basement. It's located in Western New York, 39 Sumner Street. Again, the price for this property is $29,000, and it's rented currently for $700 a month. To give you an idea about the numbers, because obviously any numbers that what makes and breaks any investment. So $29,000 rented for $700 a month. The taxes $60 a month. If you decided to leave the property with a property management, because I mean you do have option to go and collect the rent at the beginning of the month, but if you decided to have a property management, they charge 10%.
Okay.
And then you are also responsible for the water. The water in Western New York is a federal. Gas and electric, it's a private company. So normally the tenant responsible for the gas and electric, and the water is the responsibility of the owner. So let's go through the numbers again. We talked about the price is $29,000. The tax is $60 a month, and another 10% for the property management, and another 50 to 60 a quarter for the water. So you're basically looking at about 500 net.
500 net.
Net into your pocket.
On a $29,000
$29,000
investment. So that's a very good
that's awesome.
return. It's like what,
Absolutely.
15-20% return?
Absolutely.
Something like
Absolutely.
that. So that's Sumner. Then we have Pine. Now this is Pine. Is this just a lot?
Yes, and this is not just a normal lot. This is a commercial lot. We all know commercial lot are very hard to come by. This is a 50 by 50 on Pine Avenue, which is the heart of downtown Niagara Falls, New York. And actually, if you can see the building right in front, that's a city hall.
Oh, so it's right next to City Hall.
Right. So this is a very unique and very a lot like this available. This lot is assessed last year at $27,000, and I believe it's going for sale for $15,000 only.
$15,000.
Correct.
So this is a building opportunity.
Absolutely, and it's license zoned. I mean, in today's world, I mean, in order for you to zone any vacant lot, it's almost mission impossible.
Wow.
That's been taken care of.
Right next to City Hall. That's
Right
pretty awesome. Then we have 9th. This is a nice looking house.
It is. This is actually very unique. This is a duplex. When I say a duplex, because, and I'm sure you can you agree with me, in our mortgage business, when people they're renting a basement and renting a house, they say we have a double income. In our language, that's a legal duplex because it's not fire zoned and it's not meant to be a duplex. This is actually has a separate meter, separate gas and electric, and it's separate entrance. It's built back in the...
It's a two-story house.
It's a two-story, so first unit, it's a 3-bedroom with kitchen and bathroom.
So like on the main level is
Correct.
one unit, and on
Correct.
the upper level? So they're
Correct.
both above ground, which
Correct.
is nice too.
Correct.
Are they both tenanted currently?
They're
or-
both tenanted. The tenant on the first floor is paying $650, and upstairs they're paying $700. And the basement, they also have 2 separate laundry.
Okay.
So, and also, I know we don't have a picture for it, but at the back of the house there is 2-car garage. This property is actually right across from Memorial Hospital.
Yes.
Which is, again, that's the heart of Niagara Falls, New York. And as a matter of fact, the property is owned by a dentist.
Okay, and he's looking to sell
He's
it.
looking to sell because he's expanding on his clinic.
Okay, so he needs, and what is this property going for?
This particular property is going for $39, which is a steal deal in my opinion, because as you can see the numbers, the property is making $1,300 a month.
Right.
So if we take all of the expenses, you're looking at $1,000 a month.
Right, after expenses.
Correct.
Which is a very good return.
That's an awesome return.
Yeah, that's terrific. Okay, so that is 9th. Then we have Walnut, also a very nice looking house.
Yeah, this is actually one of my favorite. This is a bungalow, which is a maintenance free. It's a small yard. It was occupied by a senior, which is hardly, you don't really need to do that much. And she used to look after the flowers and the beds and what have you. It's
Nice hardwood floors.
Nice hardwood floor, 2-bedroom. The property really take care of itself. And this particular lady, every month she goes to the local bank and she deposits her rent. So you don't really need to pay a 10% for a property management. There used to be a property management, and the tenant, as I said, she wanted some privacy. And very lovely lady, and she said, you know what, I would just go to the bank and deposit the money every month. And so that way you're saving another 10%. So as you can see, the opportunity and the ROI on those investments are quite attractive. And the real estate market is a little bit different than us. Of course, it's different country and different rules.
Mm-hmm.
And
what's this one going for?
this is actually going for $25,000, which is I would say
25,000. That's great. And what did you say the rent was on that?
it's rented for $500 a month.
Okay.
It's a
And
small
it's
house.
obviously very nicely
It
maintained.
is. It is. It has a brand new water meter and a water tank. I'm sorry, and it has also 2 years ago the furnace has been replaced. So the roof is in excellent shape. So there is hardly anything that you need to do other than collect the rent and enjoy the positive cash flow.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty interesting stuff. Very good opportunity. If you are, what about if a real estate agent is watching this? I mean, there's not a lot of margin here. Can they refer a client to you? Or?
Absolutely, absolutely. And our business is basically word of mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Most of our clients, we do have some clients from the Far East.
Yes.
They basically opt into our website and they start calling me, and one thing led to the second, and they've decided to wire the money, and they said, we need to be part of this.
Sight unseen.
Sight unseen, which is phenomenal, to be honest with you. And this is something that I really strive for. We're not here to make a quick buck. I mean, the whole idea of establishing the company, I want to share the wealth with my fellow Canadian and outside. I really want to duplicate that success. There is so many opportunity. Western New York, last month alone, they foreclosed on 6,000 properties.
Wow.
So this is what I do for my investors. I pick the top 50 or 60 based on the zip code, because as you already know, out of that 6,000, they're not in a nice location. And real estate, number one rules is locations. So I basically pick the top 50 or 60, and I take the time to go and inspect some of these property. Mm-hmm. It's almost impossible to inspect all of them. And if I'm lucky, I can talk to the owner. And sometimes we've done that in the past. Sometimes we ask the owner, because you got to remember, once the city foreclosed on the property, the owner credit is shot. Mm-hmm. So we approach the owner and we give them the option to become a tenant. Okay. And also pay them a little bit of money. And that way you're establishing a good future for someone who's basically was financially destroyed. And then it's up to them whether they wanted to stay as a tenant or they wanted to basically leave the property. Yeah. So there is so much to talk. I know we don't have that much time to discuss it, but as you can see, I'm very passionate. I'm very interested in talking about it and explain and do the best we can for your viewers.
Well, I appreciate that, Emil. I think you're doing terrific work, and it's awesome what you've done. And if you are interested in learning more about these opportunities, contact Emil. The website is wealthbuildersgroup.ca, and there's a form there. Or I don't know if we have your phone number on the screen, but we could give out your phone number.
There is.
Should they just go to the website?
They can go to the website, or you can contact me at 716-254-0121. That's my U.S. number, and that's basically most of the time. I prefer the website. As you can see, I'm working hard for my other investors. And the phone, sometimes it takes us, shift our focus from what we're doing.
Right.
But we will do our best to cater for everyone who contact us.
Well, that's terrific, Emil. Thanks very much for being on the show
Thanks
today.
for having me, David.
I appreciate it. Very interesting. And thank you for watching us here on Keeping It Real. That's a wrap for today's show. We will see you next time. Have a nice day.